Hey, monkey boy. This time I can prove the Israelites weren't black using ChatGPT. Ha!
So that's what we're doing now? Using AI?
What was that? I couldn't hear you over that smoke alarm chirp you people can't hear. Say that again?
Hilarious and original.
Hilarious and original. Hilarious and original. Hilarious and original.
I said, is that what we're doing now? Using AI to prove who the Israelites are?
That's exactly what we're doing, and I'll show you, boy.
Oh, brother.
2 hours later.
Your room still stinks.
Look at how easily ChatGPT debunks everything you chimps have to say. Ha! You was not kings, and you was not Israelites.
If we're going to use AI, then let's at least use an AI that's trained on the Bible without the Masoretic mistranslations or any agendas and actually tells us the truth.
Liar, there's no such thing.
I'll show you. Let's use Israelite Bot. Go to IsraeliteBot.com and ask the same thing.
Fine, but I bet it'll say the same thing as ChatGPT. No! No!
You see? I told you.
No!
And it shows biblical proof.
No! This is preposterous. I hate this website. It's all wrong.
Stop crying.
Your website sucks.
The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Are you constantly working hard, checking off the boxes, yet feel unfulfilled? Doors keep closing, plans fall through, and progress feels forced? These are signs that you might be off course in your kingdom assignment. Join the Unlocking Your Kingdom Assignment Masterclass, where you'll learn to bring clarity to your God-given talents, discover your divine purpose, and take bold steps toward living them out. This isn't just another motivational session, it's a practical, faith-filled guide to aligning your gifts, calling, and season of life with what God has truly designed for you. You'll walk away with clarity, biblical insight, and strategies to move forward with confidence. Don't miss this opportunity to unlock the assignment God has written for you. Registration is open now at no cost to you. Sign up now at the posted website, or you can see the link in my bio. Stay blessed.
Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
landscape and lead to an economic revolution in Africa? Or is this just another social movement that is all bark and no bite? One thing is for sure, it certainly has certain special interest groups in the Western world worried, and African investors like ourselves excited. The concept of pan-Africanism has been around for a century, but it's always been a disjointed movement, and whenever there's been progress made in the past generations, it seemed that the leaders would either sell out to the Western interests or find themselves meeting an untimely death. But this new generation of pan-Africanism seems to be a little bit different, a lot more business-minded and a lot more sophisticated. Whereas the previous movements were mainly political in nature with abstract goals, the current pan-African movement has very clear objectives and can be tangibly measured. For instance, Ghana and the Ivory Coast united to negotiate better positions for themselves in the cocoa industry. This is set to add billions to each country's economy annually. Zimbabwe has been unifying with lithium-producing nations to bring thousands of manufacturing jobs to the continent. Nigeria was able to leverage their fellow West African nations to have tariffs taken off over 3,000 exports from Africa to Europe, greatly helping African businesses. I can keep going on, but this is the mindset Africa needed from an investor's point of view. Africa has always been rich in talent and natural resources, but when it came to getting their fair cut, they were often divided and given bad deals. And frankly, it was hard to justify investment in a region where resources and wealth would flow out for pennies on the dollar without value being added. But with regions of Africa starting to unite under a pan-African mindset, wealth will form in Africa much like a lake forms after a dam is built. And what we are seeing today is pan-Africanism in its most basic form. What is most exciting about modern pan-Africanism is where it could be in a few decades. The time to invest in Africa is today. I predict that the next generation of ultra-wealthy billionaires will be those who invest in Africa at this critical point in history and help to build the infrastructure, manufacturing, and power sources. So if you wanted to be part of this movement,
create content for people and search engines with SEMrush SEO Writing Assistant. Get your copy SEO ready.
where do you start? Throughout the Western world, there are Pan-African conferences where prospective investors can network and learn about the opportunities which exist. I recommend you attend one. But allow me to do a plug for an event we are part of in Washington, D.C. on July 22nd. This is called Experience Africa and is the largest Pan-African event for businessmen in the Western world. This is like a Coachella for African investors. We will have over 15 embassies in attendance, so you can ask questions to the governments directly. You'll meet investors who are looking to fund projects, manufacturing specialists, some people who are just retiring to Africa, and even developers like ourselves. And it's not all business. Experience Africa is going to have every type of African and Caribbean food you could imagine, fashion shows, plenty of time to network, and you'll have a speaker list that includes African celebrities, international businessmen, professors from Oxford, and the Roars team will be part of a panel that will talk about buying your first home in Africa. This event might be life-changing for you, so if you are interested in Africa, I would recommend you attend virtually or in person. As an official partner, you can use our code PRT23 to get a discounted ticket courtesy of the Roars team, and all proceeds from this event are going to support orphanages in Africa. The unification of a region is not a revolutionary idea. This is the concept of the European Union, the United States, and people don't realize this, but China was at one point a disjointed series of kingdoms before they united under a pan-Chinese movement. So I see pan-Africanism as a no-brainer both socially and for business. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you feel pan-Africanism is something worth supporting? Could it legitimately change the face of African economics? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if this video brought value to you, give me a like and a follow. That really helps out my channel. And I'll see you on the next video, or maybe I'll see you in Washington, D.C. at Experience Africa. Take care, guys.
America is scared right now. Britain is scared right now because they see Guinea under the independent.
Okay, shalom. Salama. CME. Shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. Before I get started, I wanted to get some housekeeping out the way because I cut off Sister Fatea's her announcement. I think 1 or 2 seconds short. So tomorrow is her course. Tomorrow's her course, June 18th. So you can sign up tomorrow, June 18th. Let me make sure I put that link in here. Sorry, I get ups and downs with this weather. I'm feeling a lot better. My throat's feeling a lot better. Still on the tingle and twinge on things. I don't know if I'll be good until after the season or after they, do what they need to do, and then we'll just kind of see how that goes. Give me just a second so I can get Sister Fatea's info in here. Because this is where you can sign up for the class. So, yeah, I wanted to show that because, and here's the link for Sister Fatea. For thy written word, please sign up for the webinar. It helps with leadership. If you all didn't know, and I wanted to show you all this, which is hand in hand. It's not the purpose of development for the sake of helping Africa. I hope you all realize what this man was trying to say. Oh boy, I'm going to have some problems in this. I'm going to have some problems in it because of the thumbnails, so please bear with me. It's going to be a bumpy ride today, unfortunately. You're now seeing, and I want you to understand this. Understand what he's basically saying. He is basically calling out Q2UA without calling out Q2UA. He's basically understanding what it is in the charity side and what we do on the business side, on the investor side. And if you don't think that he doesn't know or have the intel of what's happening, because guess what? Money shows what it is that you're doing. It's a paper trail. How you move, how you talk, how you walk, how you literally function. You're not seeing them saying, oh, you're going to have ultra success and ultra billionaires in investing in America. No, he wants to have on in here his Kangaroo Jack hat on. looking like a broke down Indiana Jones. Come on and let's recolonize. Because why? Because they see their future. Oh, now we can help with Pan-Africans, Pan-Africanists. Yeah, yeah, we need to bring them together. You understand? They say investment. They're not saying restitution or reparations. Oh, we're gonna. Did you see the little quip at the very end? What we're gonna do is gonna help orphanages. See. Look at us. Look at what we're doing. We're now. Yesterday, no kidding. I was on my walk just to clear my head and my thoughts, and I said, you know what? While I'm on my walk here, the Most High literally downloaded a book into me. He downloaded a book into me. And I was so mad too because I had my little word application and I was putting things in my pocket because when I walk with my dog so he can be exercised so he's not bothering me throughout the day as I'm working on things. But he had me working on a book. He had me working on a book on white supremacy. And man, just the amount of content that was streaming. And I thought I had put it on the Word document. That thing messed up on my iPhone. And I was so mad. I was yelling at my phone. I'm like, because I was going for like 45 minutes of just straight content. So then I was able to get things going. I got my introduction in chapter 1. I was literally on the chapter 2. I had dictated basically 3 chapters. And I'm like, yeah, this is because now you're starting to see the idea of white supremacy and what white supremacy actually means and what it looks like. You're going to have the hard soft side and you're going to have the soft side. And I was laughing because I said, man, Father, look at this. This video was brought up to me. Red had first texted it to me. I didn't get a chance to see it. Sister Charlotte's like, did you see the video that Red texted? I said, okay, let me take a look. I saw that video this morning because we were talking about some things in the background because there's a lot of things that's going on. If you didn't see the video, and I'll give you the recap of the video. Basically, July 22nd in DC, they're hosting 15 African nations. So then they can invest in Africa. Surprise, surprise. And here's the thing: they have the means to do that. They do. They have the means to put the conference together. They have the means to, get the embassies to come through, and as they pay them to handsomely to come through. This is the soft side of white supremacy. You notice that they don't have money for us or anything that we try to accomplish. You notice that, right? So when you do, like I told you, we were always climbing an uphill battle. Oh yeah, no, the Sahel Alliance is probably not going to be there, but they probably will be there. A lot of these countries and these nations are there because you know why? If they weren't there, then they would be treated with hostilities. Because again, these are the embassies here in the United States. And if you are an ambassadorial official, you're going to send somebody. All right, yeah, I get it. Because if not, then there's going to be all sorts of chaotic things, quote unquote, chaotic things that may happen with that embassy. You have to play the game. They know how this game is played in the middle of enemy territory. They know how things work. They understand how things work. Trust me, they listen to people, they have counsel, have understanding. So now they know that the approach work anymore. So that's why he tried to use the pan-Africanism. So now here comes exactly the trap. Here comes the trap. Oh yeah, you're pan-Africanist. We're gonna support pan-Africanism too. We're gonna support you too. We're gonna do this for you too. We're gonna build for you too. But make sure you have our stuff. Amazing, because you want to know why? I'm going to tell you this. You want to know why? They're not going to have any issues bringing dollars over into the United States. They're going to have a special tax, a special purpose vehicle, economic incentive to where they're not going to lose half their money bringing wealth back into the United States. No, they will not. The Treasury will say, "What's your thing? Okay, come on in." OFAC, Office of Foreign Asset Control, will say, "Yeah, bring it on in." Don't worry, they're not going to be on any type of KYC, know your customer, or anti-money laundering issues. Absolutely not. They won't have to be drug into the bank the very next week to re-verify when funds come in. Absolutely not. You have to understand how this system works, because as I was writing literally my first 2 chapters, 3 chapters, it's the framework of the framework of the framework. Do you know that this war is costing them? Do you think that he just happenstancely just came up with this and now this messaging came through? Absolutely not. This was literally from the fact that they cannot hide the framework of white supremacy, especially on the continent, because this is the direct result of the influence that Brain Troy had on the continent.
This is it. Bring your money here. Bring that there. If you didn't know, they're in for a rude awakening. They're in for a very rude awakening. As I'm looking at all these financial channels and things of that nature, and the reason that they're trying to move their money, I'm going to tell you the reason that they're going to try and move their money. Because America's debt, their bonds, and everything else is about to be severely downgraded to where not only did we say America's actually a third world, you're about to have a bond downgrade to literally third world status because nobody can trust the dollar. Oh, yeah, that's going to be happening probably in about another 2 or 3 months. Because they're going to pass the bill. They're going to pass it. That's going to be one of the bills that they quickly push through because guess what? They're going to also pass through some other bills to do what? To help out that Eastern Mediterranean nation that's now getting bombed into oblivion, that Eastern Mediterranean nation that Iran basically has said, look, has anybody ever seen a funeral procession of a country, of a nation? Here lies Rhodesia. Here once lied Yugoslavia. I haven't seen one of those in my lifetime, but we're about to. And they did it to themselves. I've never seen a nationalistic self-deletion that's in progress. We all know where this is going. People think about, oh, they're doing all these tankers to do what? They're going to refuel, and then guess what they're going to do? They're going to bring people back into Europe by the boatloads. And they'll say, don't go anywhere. Go ahead, refill, refuel. And then guess what? They're going to start bringing people here in the boatloads. I was saying this. That's why they brought in the Afrikaners, what, 2 months ago? Hey, we brought them over, and now we're really having to bring them over. But I'm just here. I'm just here. I'm already telling you what the game plan is. I'm just here. So understand, as they kick us on out, they're going to bring in their ruling class. Isn't this like the most, I don't know, interesting time ever? And I laugh because some of them got it. Some of them, way far right Nazisms, white supremacisms, they were understanding it. They just couldn't get it. They just couldn't realize it on the prophetic level. Because to me, common sense is, why would you put yourself on out there to just lie about something that you had no intent? Well, it was easy to do what? To fabricate the story. Oh, well, the Afrikaners are getting genocided. There's no genocide. Well, the Afrikaners are doing this. Well, that's not happening. Well, the Afrikaners, because why? No, get the understanding of what the new refugee into the United States is going to look like. Because as planes go forth, they're also going to be doing what? Bringing plane loads of people back. And it's easier to bring the plane loads of people back within places like Fort Bragg, Joint Base Andrews, and other places situated in the Midwest, because they're really in the middle of nowhere with their Air Force bases. And then they go to the nearest major airport and they're just getting flights to their final destinations. That's all been coordinated with the Department of Homeland Security and the United States State Department. Here's your couple $100,000. You're in a war zone. Remember, we talked about that the other day? See, we may think about the cost of war, but we don't really truly imagine there's cost of war. Well, we cannot keep up the facade because why? One of the first things that has to go when you are bankrupt are your satellite nations. This is a bankruptcy proceeding being executed by Iran. Well, imagine, yeah, that's one thing, Zoomer Doomer, but also imagine this. If you have a nation that is one of the biggest nations that we support in the United States' budget.
Support is a little bit funny. It's more like the nation that we serve. If you're talking about the nation, I think you're talking about.
Can you hear me? Sorry, give me a second. Is that better?
Can you hear? Can you hear me? Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, not that we support them. It's more like serve them. They're this country's masters. I mean, if you can't really, put two and two together at this point, I don't know what to tell you. Like, why, what their mutual interest is always at the forefront. And now those lines can't be skewed or there's no ambiguity.
Well, the whole thing, this is something that they did to themselves. This is something that they will do to themselves. Wait. This wasn't the America that our forefathers signed up for. This wasn't the America. And you want to know the funny thing about white supremacy is that they will gladly be enslaved by another group. That's how white supremacy works. Especially in I'm going to say the Western construct, especially in the American construct. This is what we're seeing right now. You want to know the beginning of their judgment? This is it. And then there will be that permanent underling class that I wonder why I can't get a job. I wonder why I can't do this or I can't do that. Or this isn't provided for me. They'll see the people that have ruled over them. Don't look at us. We're out of here. So for all those FBAs and ADOSs and everybody that says that America's my land and things of that nature, good luck with that. Because they know the time is coming. This is why they have these videos. They know, uh-oh. The flag has gone up. If we're going to be here, we're going to be here. Imagine you have a downgraded bond. Because what they're inevitably thinking is that, well, Europe is now going to then help out America. Because America had to absorb the European colony, the Western colony. And then they're going to feel betrayed. And then when all hell breaks loose on out here, then things are going to start getting bad. Now, does anybody now see the setup that the Most High literally declared on this place in terms of now your Jeremiah 50, 51, your Isaiah 60, your Joel chapter 3, your Obadiahs,
Jeremiah 16 and 19.
Exactly. Why do they need to shout out? What is the mechanism of their pain that's going to cause them to shout out when they themselves become the colonized?
Well, what you reap is what you sow, right?
And they're going to get it in the worst way.
Double the portion.
Mm-hmm. You saw what happened in Gaza. Oh, we just want to take this land. We're allowed to take this land.
Manifest destiny. Is that even allowed to be said? Are they going to flag me for that? Manifest destiny.
Yeah, it is. People thought that, well, that will never happen. I said, no, they're bringing them over here. They're going to bring them right over here to the United States. I told y'all it's coming.
And you know what's funny, Brother Karras? Literally, I had a dream about them, and you know who I mean by them. People could, use their context clues and foreshadowing and all that good stuff. Them being here, I remember it was a lot of things going on, like a lot of chaos, and specifically, I remember them just running around the city being chased by something or someone. So it's funny how all these like dreams now, like that didn't make sense like 2-3 years ago, are starting to make sense.
Well, yeah, because why? Because they come on in and they automatically have a protected class. They come on in and you automatically are not able to say anything to them.
Bow down to thy master.
Exactly.
You cannot speak against the empire.
And they did it to themselves. They masterfully did it to themselves. This is from an opinion from a Gideon Rockman, how the Israel-Iran war may develop. If Iran is losing conventional conflict, there is a danger that it will resort to unconventional means of retaliation. Now, the problem is that do you understand that when they try to say these little pieces, I always look at that as if Israel lose, and Israel's going to lose, but they already have the Samson option that they're going to let off nukes as they're leaving. So they're going to lose. Israel conducts hybrid. That's how they work. Same as Iran. But when Israel loses, guess what? They're going to go back to the West. And this time, not just the West, but the far West. Now, what we have to look at is what is going on in the Strait of Hormuz. Because a lot of, and unfortunately, a lot of their stuff is actually reporting very well. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, Tamara. Yeah, USA already boots on the ground and helping there, lying in the USA News. Yeah, Netanyahu and Greece given the orders. Israel doesn't do gas like that.
Well, he went back to Kittim. I'm sorry. He went back to Kittim. I'm sorry. Greece and all them.
Surprise, surprise. I mean, look, hey, that's something that they have to explain. They don't need to say anything to me. They do not need to say anything to me. I am just a innocent bystander. All I'm here is just looking and seeing how things are looking. But this is from Times of Israel, through Reuters and Times of Israel staff. Shipping disruption surges around Hormuz amid Israel-Iran war, naval agencies say. Closing the Strait of Hormuz, as Tehran has threatened to do in the past, could restrict trade and impact global oil prices. Electronic interference with commercial ship navigation systems has surged in recent days around the Strait of Hormuz and the wider Gulf, which is having an impact on vessels sailing through the region. Naval forces said on Monday. Iranian missiles struck major Israeli cities on Monday, while Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel was on its way to eliminating threats from nuclear and missile facilities and casualties mounted after four days of conflict. Well, we're actually in day 5 of the conflict.
And if that were true, why would you flee your country if you're losing? I mean, winning.
Look, What do we say? Is
Was
not
that
what
too?
you
Was that
say.
too bad? Was that a bad question to ask? It's like the Chappelle show. This black pussy, like, man, why you gotta ask that question? But
What is it, Garth? It's not what you say, it's what you do. Actions speak louder than words. Now, I believe that more than likely the evacuation of top officials, and then you'll also see more evacuations coming in the latter days ahead. I think when a good majority of people have left, then they'll, I hate to say it, you've seen what they've done, what they did to their people the last century.
oh, you're talking about the cost that it, the cost, the money. You know what I'm talking about? Like cost is in money, i.e., hidden word that I won't say on here, but I know what you mean.
The cost of human lives. And yes, they will take their own people to ensure that they can try to garner as many sympathy points as they can. Unfortunately, I say this. Look, no matter what you say, no matter how you feel, we've always known that we were dealing with pure wickedness. The reality was is that they didn't know. They didn't know that they were dealing with what they were dealing with. And now, because of us being where we're at in this awakening, we won't fall for the compassion okey doke because it's going to be, well, then why'd you do it? Y'all did the first preemptive strike. Why'd you do it? We already understand what it was, what it meant. We truly did. But they wanted to see would we fall for that okey doke. The reality is you have a much more interesting generation of our people. Because by and large, we've been waiting on this moment. We've been telling our family, we've been everybody. And now they're going to have to sit and watch everything develop in front of their faces and have to be confronted. They have to be confronted. And that's not going to be a good thing when they have to see, all right, dang. They did everything that you were just saying. They didn't even care. They proved every point that y'all had just said, and there was no bones about it. They showed everything that y'all were saying. Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to have their own version of their post-World War II moment. Because why? Because I'm telling you, because when they come here, all of a sudden, 13th and 14th Amendment, but that no longer applies. So as we're getting shipped out, they're getting shipped in.
Oh, you are talking about those no one hide laws, aren't you? No one hides. No one can hide, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm just using all these code words because I don't even know if it matters at this point. But
I don't think it does. Look, folks already seen what's getting ready to go down. Trump's like, oh, we're not bringing in any troops, and they're bringing in troops. They're bringing in troops to defend that country as best as they can. And then there was something interesting here. I'm going to come back to this article because I shared both of these in the sites. But it was stated here in this opinion piece, there are many in Washington who believe or fear that the U.S. will join a second stage of the bombing campaign in an effort to destroy Fordow and finish off Iran's nuclear weapons program. But there would be no guarantee that even an American-led attack on Fordow could achieve that. What are they doing? They're trying to set the stage of the U.S.'s involvement. They're trying to set the stage that, well, it's only natural that the U.S. is going to get involved.
yeah, we're their biggest ally for some reason that they can never, that they can't convey why that's the case because there's so much deception and lies and covering and obfuscating of history. They can't tell us why they're the biggest allies. You just got to believe it.
You got to believe and don't ask questions. And we already know that. Trump is departing the G7 early as conflict between Israel and Iran shows signs of intensifying. Shows signs of intensifying. You know what that means? They're not going to de-escalate. This is that moment. This was always that moment. Trump is departing the G7 early as conflict between Israel and Iran shows signs of intensifying. This was updated as of last night by Josh Bullock, Rob Gillies, and Jill Lawless. Kananaskis, I guess that's how you say it, Alberta. President Donald Trump abruptly left the Group of Seven summit Monday, departing a day early as the conflict between Israel and Iran intensified. And the U.S. leader declared that Tehran should be evacuated immediately. World leaders had gathered in Canada with the specific goal of helping to diffuse a series of global pressure points. That's not going to diffuse anything. Oh, let me make sure I present it. I'm sorry. This is it right here. This is the article that I just read. World leaders had gathered in Canada with the specific goal of helping to diffuse a series of global pressure points, only to be disrupted by a showdown over Iran's nuclear program that could escalate in dangerous and uncontrollable ways. Israel launched an aerial bombardment campaign against Iran 4 days ago. They're letting you know Israel started this. I don't care how they try to say it. I don't care what they'll try to spin or do the spin doctor with. Do you join in a fight that somebody else started? These things that we see, again, I've told you, in my opinion, the reason why we're seeing everything. These costs. These costs of doing wars.
The cost of tyranny is no longer economically feasible.
Well, no, but in their mind, it is always economically feasible. Because in their mind, you have to understand the mind of white supremacy is that white supremacy, they have to win at all costs because it's a matter of survival. I didn't say that white supremacy made sense. I didn't say that white supremacy made sense, nor will it make sense to us or the rest of the world.
That's what you got to do when you're the minority, anyway. So it's like you are a parasite, and you need your host to live at all costs, and you live and die with your host. If that makes sense.
That's exactly what it is. It is a parasitic configuration, not symbiotic. Or maybe it could be. But it is really parasitic because of the amount of resources that then will lead to your death. And then they eventually die when you die because that's how a parasite lives. According to the regime's own Haret, settlers are fleeing by sea as the skies close, and Iran's retaliatory strikes on terrorist positions intensifies. While the regime's war criminal prime minister is hiding safely in Greece. That's according to Press TV. The escape flotilla.
That's hilarious. I thought you just ad-libbed that.
I did not. I did not. That's literally what it said. The logistics headquarters of the Eastern Mediterranean Nations Military Intelligence Unit, Amman, has been entirely destroyed. Oh boy. An image of a downed Israeli regime drone destroyed by the air defense of the brigade. Yeah, this is interesting. So a lot of things are really popping up. No, we'll show it. That's a pretty large crater. You go down in that sucker, you're gonna have a hard time climbing out. You're gonna have a hard time climbing out of that one. You will fall in a couple of different times before you're able to get on out. Oh my goodness. And you got to be careful into that. And then you have your people that have been affected. Sorry. Yeah, they're striking them during the day. These are images of them being struck during the day. Mossad headquarters on fire following Iranian strikes. Wow. They're going for their nervous system. Yep, hashtag ain't no 400 years. Yakoba doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yakoba
doesn't know what he's talking about. Ain't no 400 years, Yakoba. That's just Mossad's headquarters being burnt down. Ain't no 400 years.
The equivalent of the CIA's headquarters being attacked.
Exactly. Wow. Who would have ever thought? Photo of Nim martyred after an Israeli strike. Well, this X is saying that this is from somewhere in China. But we'll see. We'll see. We're going to have a lot of disinformation on out there, what's true and what's not. Because now a lot of things that's going on is they're going to start to shut down these types of images. So this is, so they said Mossad linked elements sparked fires in different parts of Iran to sow fear. And that's all they're going to have to do. You know, setting fires to tires and things of that nature. Those types of disruption campaigns. Iran has reportedly attacked Israeli military intelligence logistics center near Glilat base near Tel Aviv. They're coming through.
I mean, I don't know. Listen, I'm not expert in exegesis or not saying I'm a prophet, but it seems like that red horse is going to and fro all around the earth right now.
This is 4 hours ago. It says, commander of the ground forces of the Iranian army, attacks on the strategic positions of the regime in the Eastern Mediterranean nation will be intensified in the coming hours. We have initiated a wave of powerful attacks using advanced weapons, and these attacks will be intensified in the coming hours. That was 4 hours ago. Now you're starting to understand why they're saying you're not going to see a lot of videos coming out of that Eastern Mediterranean nation anymore. They did what they needed to do, and now they're getting ready to shut down any other reporting. And to me, the reason that is, in my estimation, is that you're going to now start to see some things happening. In terms of the US's potential presence So I got to make sure that as I'm again presenting this information, that honestly I say the right things and do the right things, because I could potentially get, shut down. They put here the end.
You gotta Spike Lee this, Karis. Do the right thing.
Yo, oh my! Do you see this? Do you see this? It says the end.
Oh
They,
snap!
yo, look at what they did.
Finn.
That was from Iran military. Wow. You can't make this up. That was 18 hours ago. They said, we're back, Tel Aviv. Wow. Yeah, this is from Jason Hink, who said, the Iron Dome can't stop this. That must have been their last wave of attacks.
And then you had,
like they were all hitting. Did you see like there was no stopping that? That's why they have to shut it down. Look at this.
Yeah. It's like a.
There was no stopping that. They were all making impact.
And they're buffering. They're buffering Karis. They're probably buffering us really heavy, Karis, right now. So I don't know if I'm talking over you or.
The other day about the Iron Dome, because one of the missiles had been when they tried to deploy the Iron Dome, it actually fired and it hit itself.
And I was about to say, Karis, you know, these nutty evangelists say this is supposed to happen. How else are they going to build a third temple? I heard that, so don't be surprised with that type of rhetoric about, you know, somehow they'll spin this that, oh, this is prophesied, and people will still eat it up, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. I like to be fair and balanced. I want to see what is happening on their side. Oh yeah, here's a missile that attacked itself. It says Israeli interceptor missile appeared to have malfunctioned and crashed in Tel Aviv. See, things like that, that's not comforting to people. If it's not comforting to people, then people want to come through and stew and say other things. Let me look, I'm telling you, this is what's getting ready to happen. I just want to play the sound. They're coming through. Do you think the Afrikaners were bad? You think the Afrikaners? I'm telling you. They said we're back. We may have been gone for a little bit, but we're back now. They're coming through. and they are going to wreak havoc like you will never believe.
No, I mean, if you know about the history and I gotta chill. I mean, I don't want to say anything that's too crazy, but if you know the history of their origin and where they originated and how they've like moved and settled everywhere, you'd understand why this what Karis is saying is gonna be
The
bringing.
warlike nation, that migrated from the steppes of the Khazarian.
Okay, well, all right, the cat's out the bag. Yep.
The Caspian area, the Volga River area. They already said, look, they are warlike people.
Yep, that's exactly where I was going with that. But you said it, so we're keeping it real. When keeping it real goes right.
This dude said, meanwhile in Lebanon, they're looking at all this stuff happening. They can see all this stuff happening. My goodness. Let's see. That was posted June 14th. Union to impose arms embargo on Israel. We'll see how that reporting goes over the next days. So this is them hiding in their bunkers that they built. That was as of June 13th. So it looks like somebody was making fun of Palestinians, and then he's now looking at his building that is looking at the destruction. Look, don't laugh at other people's destructions. So now people in Ukraine are going to be mad that, that the U.S. can't fund two wars at the same time. Well, don't know what to tell you.
We couldn't procure them Ukraine, so now we gotta help them defend what they have now.
Here is world affairs. I'm not sure how true this is. Iran announces to send its military force to enter Israel for war. I don't know. I don't know if that's even accurate. The only thing I can honestly think is that actually could be accurate. I think Syria, to me, was always been a paper tiger when they installed their Al-Qaeda linked president, Western Al-Qaeda linked president. Isn't that crazy? Iraq would fold over, but what does that mean? If this is the case, what does that mean? They're fighting Western forces, and those Western forces are U.S. military. They'd be fighting U.S. military from literally Iraq, Syria, Jordan, and then over to Israel. Wow. Yeah, this is a barrage at a different angle. Wow. And it's all impacts. It is all being impacted. There is nothing stopping that. Wow. Somebody said that, not me, but yeah, it's things are going through. Here's this one. The reporter.
صدای متجاوز به صدای حق و حقیقت است. آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلوده استدیو.
That missile came through. She was out.
که شنیدید.
She said, I don't got time for this. All righty. Let's see what the 22 Arab and Islamic countries have issued a joint statement condemning Israel's attacks on Iran in the strongest terms. Supposedly. Now I always say supposedly because we just don't know. And now here you go. This isn't from me. This is from this person. I don't know. We'll see. YouTube hopefully doesn't flag me. But
why are you asking America for help? What the fuck? Then aren't you guys the God-chosen people? Why do you need America? I thought you had God on your side. Satan. Why are you crying? Why are you crying? Oh yeah, I forgot. You're on.
Well, he doesn't really sound like an American, but interesting. And of course,
bombs to Israel,
Lindsey
provide
Graham.
bombs if we need to. Be all in, President Trump, in helping Israel eliminate the nuclear threat. If we need to provide bombs to Israel, provide bombs. If we need to fly planes with Israel, do joint operations. But here's the bigger question. Wouldn't the world be better off if the Ayatollahs went away and replaced by something better? Wouldn't Iran be better off? Tom Cotton is coming on. He made a great observation. The endless wars are on. Since 1979, they've been attacking the entire region, chanting death to America, death to Israel since their very founding. It's time to close the chapter on the Iranian Ayatollah and his henchmen. Let's close that chapter soon and start a new chapter in the Mideast, one of tolerance, hope, and peace. Be all in, President Trump, in helping Israel eliminate the nuclear threat. If we need to provide bombs.
Oh, man. This live stream is sorry, family. I'm having some issues Give me a second. Because, people have to be very, very careful. And that's the vanity of a nation when they always say, well, wouldn't it be better off if they weren't here? Wouldn't the world? And that's where you have to be careful, because all the things that they say, it's really prophetically, they're prophetic utterances they may not necessarily get.
Well,
Because the same thing that you're telling, do you not think that, I don't know, other people are saying the same thing about you?
exactly. And, I remember learning in what international politics class that literally in the 50s the US went out of their way to stop democratically elected officials and elected democratically official elected president in Iran just so they could spearhead OPEC. So, they just, gleam over that history as to why there's so much instability and fighting in the nation, and as to why there's contempt, because you meddled with their affairs and have made them, you've basically enacted, economic warfare on them like every other nation that, breeds contempt. But that doesn't matter.
Hmm. I just want to get the scripture, because I got to make sure our people understand this. In those days, this is Jeremiah 50, verse 20. In those days and in that time, this hasn't happened. This has not been fulfilled. Sorry, people try to say, oh, this was already fulfilled. No, it wasn't. Saith Yahuwah, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none. And the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found. Right? Are they not saying that we need to be standing up there and protesting, and that's our fight, and we need to do, and and we're just sitting here? For I will pardon them whom I reserve. We're actually being pardoned right now. That's a blessing. Hallelujah. Go up against the land of Merathaim, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pekah. Waste and utterly destroy after them, saith Yahuwah, and do according to all that I have commanded thee. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahuwah. We would have healed Babylon, but she refused to be healed. We would have healed this place. We knew what was coming. We knew what was happening. You can't save anybody that doesn't want to be saved.
Don't save her. She don't want to be saved.
Don't save Babylon. She don't want to be saved. Don't save. Babylon was for the streets. Now, will America join the war? Absolutely. Has America probably already joined the war? I would say there's a strong possibility that that's already happened. A very strong possibility that that has already occurred. So, as we're starting to see now this new posturing, because this is what it is, it's the politicalese things, you know. Hey, Trump had to run out of G7 summit because something had happened, something that had occurred, and something, right? It's you got to also remember they also like to do theatrics.
Oh boy, do they. With this guy going
They
on
got to
about.
do theatrics.
I've
Yes, go
given
ahead,
them
Carl.
60 days, and day 61, this so happened to happen. So no deal. I told them to sign the deal, but they didn't. We were trying to negotiate in good faith, but it seems like they don't want to. So now this is the only recourse. President Trump, would you like to tell us how or if there's American involvement in this? No, I wouldn't like to discuss that right now. Literally, verbatim, literally saw that interview. I don't know if it was 2 days ago or whatnot, but yeah.
I'm kind of with you tomorrow. He didn't run out earlier for this. He left because he wasn't liked. We can't be talking about the country is going to be a 51st state, and then you got to see them for the G7 conference. Like, people are really going to receive you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got a nice, convenient excuse. We're still not going to be involved in things in Iran. That was his excuse. Oh, I got a major announcement. Yeah, we're still not doing anything in Iran. Okay, then why'd you leave? You see what I'm saying? Why did you leave? Look, you know what that just showed the whole world that people don't like him. That literally showed the whole world people don't like him.
And he's the embodiment of this nation, so what does that tell you? People do not like this nation anymore.
We didn't say it. We didn't do it. This is what you all did. We would have healed Babylon. She refused to be healed. One of the things that what a lot of people don't understand about how this thing works. And not just when you fight a people, but when you fight a people to absolute desolation. How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Well, Babylon was doing some things. You got to do a lot of stuff to make it to where they utterly destroy, to where they just utterly tear down everything. And that's not a good thing at all. To where, as we read that in Isaiah chapter 2, to have no regard for the old or young, they have no regard for silver or gold. They don't care. I just pray that every single African nation that shows up at that Africa investment seminar in DC, I pray that they snub every single dollar, because it's like, your dollar's worthless. I pray that they realize just how much value their currency is now holding against the US dollar. I pray that they understand that. Israel gave Iran and BRICS everything that they were working towards. Because why? Because the whole element to this was the U.S. could not survive. I pray our people realize this.
And
Go
they
ahead.
gave, again, they gave Russia and BRICS and all of them a moral high ground because everyone's seeing the drunkenness of the fornication of the whore of Babylon, and they continue to see her stumbling like a drunkard, still getting high off of her own wine and her influence, and still thinking that it's going to work. But everyone's like, no, you're drunk, it's time to go home.
Sister Pamela says the dollar value is tanking over here in Senegal every day. We were trying to tell you this. People think that they're going to up and leave to go to Africa with a dollar that's declining. The dollar is declining in other places around the world. It hasn't declined here yet in the United States. We still have to operate in dollars. However, the decline of the dollar, especially in these other countries, yeah, of course they're going to have multi-high-end billionaires here in the United States. Because why? Because every other nation's currency is going to surpass the currency of the USD. So, of course, they're going to have to be billionaires. Shoot, you're going to have to be a millionaire just to survive here. Because the value is tanking. And guess what? They're taking their money with them as the value here is declining. I have these conversations every single day. I'm talking to folks in the United States and over on the continent every single day. Our value and our worth is not in the USD. It is not. Our wealth is in between, is that space between our two ears. We're literally living right now in a time crunch of the US dollar tanking. Tanking. What did they have the other day? What, a 2 banana limit? A 2 banana limit? I don't know how real that was. I saw that the other day. But I'm like, why would they? institute a 2-banana limit. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's the broadcast here. You already know that I was going to. You already saw that on the thumbnail. When that was on the thumbnail, you already knew. Oh, they're going to.
Brother Karras, I think it would be a great time to cue how people can support this channel. Because I feel like this is one of the most unadulterated streams you've had in a while, where we're just telling it like it is. And obviously, they don't like it.
Going out on me. And you know what they hate? This is a place that absolutely hates the truth. At this time, especially, I know as this channel is getting messed up by the platform, you can support this channel through Cash App with Covenant Awakenings. That's $sign COVAWK1. Or you can support via PayPal or Zelle at karasi@msn.com. So I'll put that on out there. Maybe you all were able to hear that. If you weren't, well, let's just say, you know what? I've already said it that, the days of us being on this platform are numbered because we're now seeing how this thing is working. And when they said that they're going to ban things and, look at doing all sorts of other reprisals with media, understand that just isn't germane to that nation. That also applies here. That also applies here. In the United States. So, no, these were not American ships, as we could tell, that were in the Strait of Hormuz that had caught fire. Those are the ships burning in the distance there on the water. So we don't know if the Strait of Hormuz has indeed been shut down. But it says here that 3 oil tankers on fire in the Strait of Hormuz, and I believe in coincidence. And these are 3 oil tankers. Let me go here. I like to go to Market Watch. It's a little bit easier. Yeah, they're trying to keep everything artificially low. I told you, when worse comes to worse, they're going to keep everything that they can artificially low. So what does that mean? I would like to see how much money the U.S. is spending. Because somebody's pumping money into things. The Market Watch has said that they only have, it's like $73 a barrel. They're trying their best to negotiate with Iran because what the U.S.'s strategy is, because a lot of folks don't understand these costs of war, as I explained, there's an economic cost to a country that is already in the economic throes of things. They are, in fact, in the economic throes. They are. Don't get it twisted. There's a reason why they allowed for federal contractors to do what? To legally discriminate against black people. Yeah, they said that. That's not a lie. Cameron, it says there are reports of an indictment involving, and I don't know if it's indictment or interdiction. This may be a naval talk. 3 ships in the Gulf of Oman near the Strait of Hormuz have found 3 ships transmitting not under command in the region. So it's an oil chemical tanker, crude oil tanker, and crude oil tankers. So yeah, so now these crude oil tankers yeah, and China is actually pretty good because China would go through Iran into some other parts of Central Asia. So that's really not that big of a deal. And this person has a must-watch. Supreme Leader Khomeini threatens to block one of the most dangerous choke points, which I think I say, which is located in the Persian Gulf, in the Gulf of Oman, the Strait of Hormuz, if the U.S. attacks. So they're showing that animation. So they're saying that if the Strait of Hormuz closes, the oil price will likely be around $300 a barrel. And that's what they're trying to say. You had a relatively impressive spike over the course of the conflict. I read that yesterday. But satellite data from NASA and private companies detect the presence of an ongoing fire of intense heat source in the Gulf of Oman region near the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, understand. So when you have oil tankers like that, that's where you have an issue, because obviously that creates a environmental issue. And then you have to have ships being even more cautious, and there's more cost of having ships go through. Look, I just did this with a container for medical supplies going over to the continent, going over to Africa. And it's not going to get any easier. The way that the Q2A spear, the Enterprise was or is that you have your charity, but we also have our business side, the for-profit. And I'm saying this because I'm alluding back to the video I showed earlier with their Africa Investment Conference in Washington, D.C., and their recognition of pan-Africanism, and literally they're doing the playbook. Imitation's the best form of flattery. Because, yeah, sorry, can you hear me? Can you all hear me? Testing. Can you all hear me?
I could hear you, but it's
Give me one if
sped
you can
up, and it's sped up, and obviously, like we've been saying, they're buffering the stream. People have to just be patient.
Yeah, sorry, that happens. That is happening. Yeah, I usually do not have like this until right now. My work in the background is to create opportunities for our people on the continent. I'm not here to have people move to the continent. That's not what I do. I'm here to create opportunities for people to invest in businesses that then support the local community. Well, that raspy voice may actually be my normal voice. We have an opportunity here. And if you didn't think that that wasn't the case, do you know? Did you see that video? Play that video from the beginning. I have it as as the first video played right after my introduction. The first video. Because they have the opportunity to do it because they have the means. They have the relative wealth. Let's just face it. But guess what we have? We have us. We have each other. Who cares? They got dollars. But now those dollars, yeah, Crocodile Dundee, yeah, for real. For real. Mr. Rick, Crocodile Dundee. To me, they're too little too late with a failing dollar. Too little too late. And let me tell you, the capital of their dollar was always built off of our backs. And now they're mad because we've literally said no. We said no by not protesting. We said no by just sitting down and taking ourselves somewhere else. We have a great opportunity to now do something that we truly haven't been able to do with our brothers and sisters on the continent. To work with them. Because at the end of the day, real resources is actually real wealth, which is actually real money and real currency. It's an appreciating asset. If you all would like to sign up to do business on the continent, this is for business. Business-minded people. This is for people that have their businesses ready to go. They have their actual EINs, things of that nature. To build on the continent. So when I say business-minded folks, this is business-minded folks. We already have a shareholder contingency, but now this is for doing business. Because now we're in the opportunity to do the business. I can't even tell you the victories that we're having here. Lest they try to throw monkey wrenches into that. Because just because I may have 290 some people in here doesn't mean that they're all on the same accord. Doesn't mean that they want this thing to go through. I told you. And you don't think that they have their agents up in here? Absolutely. Do I sound a little bit better, or are people losing me?
I would just slow it down and, because it's like speeding up the audio and drowning it out at the same time.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, they're really dogging this.
Yeah.
Golly. All right. Well, I'll try this again tomorrow. You all have Sister Fatea's leadership course. I'll put that in the chat. The webinar's tomorrow. Brother Garth, any closing?
If you can hear me, I am talking with the audio, and everyone stay prayed up and trust in the Most High. That's all I have to say. If you can hear me, bye. Shalom. Shalom.
You all, yeah, my audio is definitely, it needs some help. I'm trying, family. It needs some help. So, most time willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be able to get that reach on out again, as I'm working on the background and I have things going on. So yes. So with that, I gotta definitely. I also have to get some things worked on in the background. So with that stated, you all be blessed. Keep your head up. As your Copeland would say, your captivity is really ending. I'm going to say this. They are letting us know that this captivity is literally getting ready to end. Because I said it, they are the ones that tell us how the Most High is squeezing them, right? You don't know how things hurt until somebody lets out that, right? That little wince, that yell. Because they're going to try their best to say everything is good, everything is fine. That's what they do. Hallelujah. So with that, I'll try to fix these audio issues, try to shut down some more of the browsers. Hopefully that will fix it. Don't be fearful. Do not be fearful, but be empowered. The Most High is with you. Walk in your authority. The Most High is with you. And I just don't say that for you all. I say that for me. I truly do. So with that said, family, be blessed, and I pray I see you tomorrow. All right. Shalom, everyone.